This is FimScripted, episode 1, covering simple ways. With us today is, well, introduce yourselves.
All right, so I guess I'll go first. I'm Herd of Bronies, one of the analysts on YouTube, and now one of the members here. Anyone want to go next?
My name's Cadet Redshirt. I'm fairly recent to the whole voice acting thing, but figure let's go give it a go.
I'll go next. My name's Jennifer, and I'm pretty much the same way, very new to voice acting and giving it a shot.
Hi, my name is John. I'm quite a hobbyist voice actor. I'm also from Scotland, so it's a lot later at night compared to all the other guys on this channel. So here I am, and I hope to have fun tonight.
And yeah, I can't believe I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Derek, the sort of host and, well, just basically host and introducing everyone. Because, yeah, my voice is not the best at all. So, with all the introductions done, we'll just begin with simple ways. And, well, actually, before that, let's everyone introduce their role specifically in the episode.
Okay, so I'll be playing the narrator. Also be playing Twilight Sparkle and Fluttershy, as well as one line from Bulk Biceps.
I'm gonna be the voice of Rarity and the little snippet of Pinkie Pie that's in there.
I'm going to be the voice of AJ and Rainbow Dash.
And I've been given the privilege of playing Spike and Trenderhoof.
Alright, with that said, everyone move over to your script page. Starting with the episode with, Simple Ways Prologue.
Alright. So, opening shot. Fade into a long shot of the town square during the day, with a considerable crowd gathered outside the town hall. Rainbow Dash flies down toward the gathering, cut to one bridge over the nearby stream, where her 5 friends are on the way in as she swoops to them.
Wow, I can't believe how many ponies showed up.
Skipping this line. Overhead shot of the square. The group is at the back of the audience, and a lectern and a table with 3 chairs are set up in front of the steps. The mayor of Ponyville walks toward the former, and 3 elder citizens, one of whom is Granny Smith, are on the steps. Tilt slowly toward these 4.
Finding out who the Ponyville Days Pony of Ceremonies is a pretty big deal.
Close-up of the mayor, then pan to the table where the trio have taken their seats. I didn't know Granny Smith was on the selection committee. Skip.
Of course she is.
Head-on view of the mayor and the 3 pony committee. As Applejack continues, zoom in on Granny's end of the table. A filly walks up, holding the string of a balloon in her teeth, and it gets a pat on her head.
Ponyville Day celebrates the founding of Ponyville, and she was right there.
Skip.
I'm glad the committee didn't automatically pick me, so every pony gets a chance to see how great being me actually is. Even though the festival is basically a party, and the Pony of Ceremonies gets to organize the whole thing, so it would totally make sense if they did pick me.
By the time she finally stops, both Applejack and Rarity are shooting her dirty looks. A zoom out reveals that the feeling is shared by all the ponies in her immediate vicinity. Shh! There comes the sound of a microphone being tapped, then a brief whine of feedback.
Citizens of Ponyville, this year's applicants were all exceptional.
Cut to a pan through the group of them. Clown, medieval knights, derpa hooves, a science nerd wearing a helmet sporting a model solar system, magnifying glass, and microscope, and a cadet from the Wonderbolts Academy.
So there can be only one Ponyville Days pony of ceremonies. And that pony is
At her
Rabbit.
glance toward the committee, the camera focus shifts to them. A brief round of whispers and nods is followed by the biggest gasp Pinky has ever sucked in over the course of the series. She pulls in so much air, in fact, that her entire head inflates to ludicrous size and floats up like a balloon, taking the rest of her with it. Back to the lectern, Granny totters up, a note in her mouth, and sets it in position for the mayor to read. The blue eyes behind the half-moon glasses pop in surprise, but this quickly gives way to a smile.
Rarity.
Skip.
Hooey. All right, Rarity. Yeah.
Whoop/laugh. Now Amethyst Star gives Rarity a bouquet of roses, and the camera zooms out to frame Twilight crossing to her. Congratulations, Rarity. Do you know what you're going to do? The unicorn's blue eyes glance shrewdly toward the sound of something being wheeled in. A large and detailed scale model of the town pushed by a sweaty, grunting Spike, with red banners strung from the town hall roof, cut to a ground level within the assembly, the camera pointing up and toward these as she and Twilight lean into view over them.
Oh, I might have a few ideas.
There is the faintest hint of smugness in the smile she gives Twilight, who returns a humoring one of her own. Fade to black. Opening shot. Fade into the exterior of Carousel Boutique. Zoom in slowly and dissolve to ground floor showroom, where a short runway has been set up. Let's see. An easel and phonograph stand at its far end, in front of a closed curtain, and Rarity's friends are gathered at the near one. Pinky hops excitedly in place for a few moments, then freezes with only her front hooves in contact with the floor. Her head is returned to its normal dimensions.
I'm so excited for the festival, I can hardly stand up straight.
And she promptly topples forward, smacking her face into the floor and earning a disgusted eye roll from Rainbow. Me too. I'm glad Rarity was picked. I know she added a touch of elegance to the whole thing.
Probably more than a touch.
The lights in the showroom come down, and the footlights placed along the runway's end flick on as Pinky stands up. Spike steps out from behind the curtain, sporting a dark blue-gray blazer, white shirt, and polka-dotted bow tie, and cranks up the phonograph. Clearing his throat and straightening his tie, he turns to face the audience. A subdued classical waltz begins, and an overhead spotlight picks him out. Now standing by the easel, he brings out a set of note cards and glances at them occasionally while speaking.
This year's Ponyville Days Festival, designed by Rarity, will feature various high-class events such as...
The blank cover page is flipped backward to expose a charcoal sketch of a well-dressed earth pony, stallion, and mare sampling drinks. A pyramid of glasses and a punch bowl are laid out behind them. Close-up of the picture.
a silent cider auction and tasting.
Page turn. Here is a sketch of couples dancing near a fountain next to the town hall, beneath a strings of hanging lights.
A Ponyville gala in town square.
Page turn. This sketch presents several mares walking a runway and showing off their classy outfits for a densely packed crowd.
And of course, a Ponyville fashion show.
Ooh.
This year's Ponyville Days Festival Pony of Ceremonies creates a shimmering couture of her own designs.
Pan to the spotlit curtain on the end of this. It opens to reveal Rarity, clad in an ornate light blue gown whose sash is liberally studded with gemstones, the necklace barely visible behind a ruffled neckline, and the rings in her ears and on her horn are similarly accented.
And the theme is small town chic.
Wow, Rarity, you really have put a lot of effort into this.
I'll say.
Oh, I think it's going to be magical. Do you really think so?
Are you kidding? I can't wait.
Oh, that's such a relief.
Spike wheels a set of steps up to the edge.
But of course, I couldn't possibly do it all on my own. The festival is in 3 days.
Pinkie Pie and I can hang lights and decorations in the town square. And I could get sweet apple acres all ready for the cider tasting.
Oh, that's just perfect. And now, Twilight, if you and Fluttershy wouldn't mind helping with the fashion show,
Of course.
I'd be honored. I can focus on the one thing I'm worried about most of all.
What?
What?
Creating a Ponyville Days festival fantastic enough to impress Trindle.
A pan across the rest of the bunch points up their total lack of recognition at this name. Stop on Applejack and Fluttershy, trading a look as if to say, okay, which one of us has to bite the bullet here? The blonde mare takes the risk by speaking up first.
Ow! Who's Treadle?
What? How can we not know who Trenderhoof is?
Cut to an expanse of purple curtain. As she continues, it rises under her control to show the group on the other side, and the camera shifts to frame the fitting room it had blocked off. The back wall is plastered with assorted pictures and silhouettes of a brown, blue-eyed unicorn stallion with a two-tone blonde mane. He wears a green sweater with orange trim at cuffs and collar, as well as white-framed hipster eyeglasses and a small patch of beard stubble on his chin. The hearts that adorn some of these silhouettes and the items thrown about the table under the pictures, including a lock of mane hair and the tablecloth with his picture and a couple of hot-headed arrows pointing at it, tell just how infatuated she is with this stallion. A few other items, such as ticket stubs and a badge on a lanyard, are stuck on the wall among the pictures.
Trenderhoof is only the most amazing, handsomest travel writer to have ever traveled or written. Before Las Pegasus became an equestria travel destination, he wrote about it. Before the culinary revolution in Trottingham, he discovered it. He knows it's going to be hot even before it's tepid.
Cradling the sheet, she makes a tiny, funny giddy noise in the back of her throat and turns it into a giggle. Sounds like some pony has a little bit of a crush.
Oh, Twilight. Crush doesn't even begin to describe it. He's practically divine. I can't believe he's coming.
Now on the edge of a hyperventilation fit, she pulls a different picture off the wall and gazes at it while laughing and muttering inaccurately. Pan from her to frame 5 perplexed mares, who let their eyes tell each other just how strange they all think this is, and one smiling baby dragon who is either oblivious or cares not a whit. Dissolved to a stretch of railroad tracks, and Pan to follow a train as it rolls up to the Ponyville station. Twilight and Rarity are waiting at the platform, but are soon lost from sight behind these clouds of steam that billow out as the train comes to a stop. The view soon clears, thanks to a paper fan being magically waved by Rarity, who has shed her entire formal ensemble.
Thank you ever so much for joining me, Twilight. I don't think I could have met Trenderhoof on my own.
It's no problem, but you shouldn't be nervous about meeting him. Within seconds, the passengers are streaming out up onto the platform around them. Rarity's eyes flit from one to another as if she has just downed 3 gallons of high-octane espresso.
Is that him? Do you see him? Twilight, is he here?
Cut to the perspective of the new arrivals, one of whom was Hayseed Turnip Truck. I'm not sure.
You don't suppose he decided not to come? Twilight, I don't see him. What if he doesn't arrive? The whole festival will be a disaster. Twilight, where is he?
Cut to an overhead shot of the platform, showing that every stallion, mare, and foal on it has begun to stare directly at the incipient meltdown. There is no sound following her outburst, except the singing tone of escaping steam from the engine. After a very long and uncomfortable pause, Rarity clears her throat.
Sorry.
Rarity, you have to get a hold of yourself. I mean, you haven't even met him yet. Ground level, at the platform's edge. 4 long brown legs step out, the front 2 covered by orange-trimmed sweater sleeves marked with argyle patches up near the shoulders, and the camera zooms out to frame Trundlehoof from the neck down. He is tall and slender, with an argyle pattern cutie mark and a comb in his sweater pocket, and his tail is cut short. A tilt up brings his head into view. With his face turned back toward the train, he opens his eyes and aims a smiling sideways glance toward the station. While Twilight looks straight toward him, Rarity snaps her head up and lets her eyes constrict almost to points for a moment. They dilate again, and her mouth falls slightly open as hearts rise and burst in the air around her, the ambient light dimming itself. Cut to Trenderhoof, who flashes a toothy grin at the same effects play around him, and the camera zooms in slightly, then back to the pair. Reality has reasserted itself in the surroundings at this point, and Rarity pulls in a few bushes of air and dives to a huddle behind Twilight, clutching at the violet legs. What's wrong?
Shh! It's him. It's him. It's him. Is it him? It's him. It's him. He's here. He's here.
Well, go up and talk to him.
I can't.
The princess throws her a hard glare and kickstarts her horn. Cut to Trenderhoof, who now has his comb in his teeth and is returning it to his pocket. Rarity is magically shoved across to him, her hooves squilling on the planks. Once the spell dies out, she lets out a very nervous giggle and rubs one foreleg against the other.
Hi. Hello, Mr. Trenderhoof. I am Rarity, and I have been chosen as Pony of Ceremonies for the Ponyville Days Festival.
She giggles and blushes a bit. Trenderhoof's voice carries overtones of his upper crust, Long Island lockjaw accent, as well as a trace of effeminate character.
Please, call me Trend.
The blush is joined by a very twitchy eye, and both of these give way to a fainting spell that drops her like a ton of bricks. Twilight, who has seen the whole thing up close and in full detail, puts a disbelieving hoof to her face. Wipe to the town square. As various residents go about their business, Rarity leads Trenderhoof past the town hall.
And over over here will be the climax of the festival, the Ponyville Days Gala. Music, dancing, and of course, a locally sourced menu of delicious treats.
Ooh, reminds me of the spring fling. What the heck? Sorry. You're coughing. Who's coughing?
Sorry, that was me. I choked on some water.
Oh, I see. You should have muted your microphone. It's very rude, you know.
I had my page
That
on
was
the
extremely rude.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Let me continue. Reminds me of the Spring Fling meets Manhattan wedding I wrote about in Gallop and Prance.
Exactly. I can't even describe how much your work has influenced me.
Wipe to the pair topping a rise well outside the village proper. Just ahead of them is Sweet Apple Acres.
And finally, Sweet Apple Acres. Ponyville's core, so to speak, where our quaint little hamlet began.
Oh, breathtaking.
The movement puts him off screen on the end of this. From here, cut to the two unicorns walking across the homestead.
I've heard about it, of course, but to see it in verite, to stand on the soil of a working farm, you can really feel the authenticity.
Oh yes, they really do grow apples here.
Thank you, Rarity. Thank you for bringing me here. This farm is truly something special.
Oh, I had planned to transform it into an elegant country inn for the festival. But now I see just how special it is au naturel.
Oh, natural indeed.
Cut to his mental picture of the unicorn mare, rendered in soft focus and ringed with white. A faint blush comes over her alluringly smiling face as hearts pop around her and the camera zooms in slowly to an extreme close-up. From here, the view cuts to a close-up of Trenderhoof with normal lighting and focus. He wears a gentle smile of his own, leaning in slightly, but starts with an abrupt grimace of surprise and a sound not far off from a donkey's bray.
Oh.
His perspective. He looks past Rarity as normal light comes up. The pupils of her eyes briefly going heart-shaped, and his eyes stop on Applejack eyeing a loaded apple tree some distance back. She has a few empty tubs around its base and is wearing quite a few splotches of dirt all over herself.
Who is that?
Rarity turns her head just in time to see the farmer buck the tree, bringing down enough fruit to fill up the tubs. She wipes her forehead with one dirty hoof, and now the blue eyes behind the hipster glasses pop very wide. Hearts burst around his slack-jawed expression, which rings itself in white and goes into soft focus. Cut to his perspective again. Rarity moves to block his view of Applejack, but his focus stays on the background.
Who? Applejack?
Trenderhoof eases her aside just before Applejack bucks the tree again. Back to his stunned countenance, then cut to a soft focused shot of the earth pony. In slow motion, apples tumble down around her, and she whips her head from side to side to throw off sweat. She ends with the ponytail of her mane draped fetchingly over one shoulder and a come-hither look in the green eyes. Back to the two unicorns, both seen normally. The clearing of the mare's throat does nothing to snap the smitten stallion out of his reverie.
Why are you staring at her like that?
I've seen a lot in my travels, but I've never beheld such beauty.
Soft focus close-up of Applejack, holding up a beaten apple and wiping juice from her mouth.
Applejack, the pony of my dreams.
Zoom in slowly past him to the thunderstruck white mare, whose eyes and ears droop in unfathomable disappointment, then snap to black. Opening shot. Fade into the exterior of the Carousel Boutique. Zoom in slowly.
Rarity?
Cut to him, looking for her as he crosses the showroom. He has done away with his formal duds from the earlier presentation and is carrying an ornate cup.
Rarity? Hello?
The sound of muffled sobbing freezes him where he stands. Turning toward one of the fitting rooms, he notices a dribble of water that is oozed out across the floor from underneath its curtains. His feet splash in the wetness, and when he pulls the curtain aside, he finds Rarity collapsed at her Trenderhoof shrine and bawling her eyes out. The crying jag is, in fact, so severe that streaks of mascara have run down her cheeks.
I brought my cider tasting cup. Are you ready to go try the samples?
She flings her forelegs wide, knocking it away to bounce across the floor.
What's the point?
Rarity? What's wrong?
Nothing.
Is it something I said?
He doesn't like me.
What?
He doesn't like me.
Rarity, I can't hear you. What is,
He doesn't like me because he has a crush on Applejack, even though I've had a crush on him forever, since the beginning of time, and it's not fair!
These last two words come with enough force to throw him to the floor. It takes him a moment to sit up.
Trenderhoof doesn't like you? That's ridiculous.
Oh, Spike. How could you ever know what it's like to be totally obsessed with a pony? Only to find out they're obsessed with some pony else.
The little dragon cast a quizzical glance aside. What am I, chopped liver?
I mean, what could Applejack possibly have that I don't?
He just shrugs and gives her a non-committal beats me grunt. When the camera next focuses on Rarity, the runny mascara is gone, and she has stopped crying. Zoom in slowly. Dissolve to a close-up of Applejack walking down a street, cleaned up from her chores and with 2 full baskets of apples slung on her back. Trenderhoof quickly drops in behind, but his intrusion begins to irritate her.
You know, I have such respect for the work ethics of Earth ponies.
Gee, thanks. Granny Smith always said, pick an apple a day and keep trouble away.
How many varieties of apple do you think there are?
On the farm or in all of Equestria. 'Cause
I once had an apple so rare, they thought it was extinct. I ate 4 of them.
One chomp, and the fruit is gone, except for the spatters of pulp, juice, and seeds that hit the ground in her face. Applejack aims a hairy eyeball back at him and wipes herself clean.
is that a fact?
That's my thing. I take the mundane, the simple, the unappreciated, and I make it relatable.
As he speaks, the camera cuts to his perspective and pans to follow his gesturing hoof around the area. Mundane. Point out an elderly mare using a walker to take a stroll. Simple. Bonbon and a filly. Unappreciated. Derpy hooves in conversation with a stallion. All react with surprise and or mild irritation at their sobriquets. Cut back to a close-up of Trenderhoof as he finishes. On the next line, pan slightly to show Applejack heading away from him down the street.
Well, I hope you can relate to Ponyville.
Me too. But enough about me. I want to know about you. What do apples mean to Applejack?
Look, I'm glad you're interested in Ponyville and all, but I'm kind of busy with my chores and lifting. And if I can't get them done, there won't be a Ponyville Days festival to you to write about.
Rarity. Rarity.
Well, that will never do.
The green eyes bug out at the interruption, while the blue ones behind the lenses stay firmly fixed on her. Zoom out at ground level to between Rarity's forelegs, which sport fancy white boots with pink trim and accents. A straw basket hangs into view above them.
Rarity, what are you wearing?
A head-on shot of the white unicorn answers that one in full detail. Boots on all four hooves, a broad-brimmed sun hat with a pink band and studded with plenty of gems, a lacy pink apron/shirt, front similarly decorated, the basket lined with lace, hung on a strap around her neck.
What? This old thing?
Aren't you too busy planning the festival to keep making new outfits for it?
I am, but the thought of hauling apples inspired me, and I just couldn't help myself.
Really?
If there's one
And
thing I
time
love, it's hauling apples.
and time for a non-commercial break.
Yay!
That was the first half of Simple Ways brought to us by Insanity and all the voice actors. But yeah, right now we're going to be discussing the most recent episodes, particularly the most one that just happened right now, just because it's on everyone's mind, which was Appaloosa's Most Wanted, but also the rest of the episodes of season 5 thus far in general.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone want to start off their thoughts on the recent episode?
I guess I'll start first. I mean, this episode, I thought it was nice. It was pretty pleasant. Nothing really too exciting happened, but it was nice. We got a backstory. We got a new character with a nice backstory. We got to see Brayburn again since what was it? What was it? The last time we saw him was season 1.
I think so, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
5 years after, you got to see him again, and I loved how they portrayed him as like this sort of goof that he is, like all the trouble he get, like he let the CMC get it out. He messes all sorts of stuff, and there's that one face that he has when he gets hit by that bale of hay, and he pokes his head up over the top, and that really got me going.
Yeah. I gotta say, I really love the fact that they're expanding male characters in this season, because
Yeah.
over the last few
yeah.
years, the only male characters are usually the enemies or, I don't know, Discord. You don't normally get any male characters unless they're only a couple of, they're just like the side character, the joke or the reference. In this season, it seems like they're really fleshing them out, and
Right.
I look forward to what the fans are going to do with these characters.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, my current bet is there's going to be a lot of Derpy Shoes shipping.
Oh no! Oh god!
Oh god, yeah.
Oh,
I
You
can
know,
see
earlier-
it now.
It's going to happen.
There's already
Oh,
I
fan
didn't
art
even think
of-
about that.
There's already fan art of the guy, and yeah, there's a Derpy picture of him. Derpy's like over his head with a cloud, and yeah, she's
Oh.
burnt, and he's just underneath the cloud. Like,
Oh.
this is my life, and it sucks.
He was
It's
very
coming.
pure. It was
He
weird.
was, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't expect it because it's such a
Yeah.
poignant character trait
Yeah.
for like this kind of a show.
One of the vibes I got from this episode was that it was like bridal gossip, except done a little bit better. I know one of the things we know in the analysis community is how Voice of Reason hates bridal gossip. It's like his second worst episode. So I know after seeing this episode, he's gonna lose his mind on it.
I
Yeah.
liked it that they introduced yet another male character, but not just another male character, but also a male character style. I mean, you have the typical,
Oh yeah,
you have the stallion, you have the kind of stallion style like Big Mac. Then you have the I don't know about whether it's normal, but you have kind of similar to the other female characters, like the Doctor Who's kind of characters. Like then you have the Stallion Big Mac. Then you have another who's kind of a little bit smaller, like the Shining Armor character. And then in season 4, you saw Trenderhoof and Cheese Sandwich, and they were the tall, lanky males.
Yeah.
And now we get something. Now I'm just gonna call him a giant because when I saw when I saw Trouble Shoes, I was like, wow, I think he's bigger than Big Mac.
Yeah. I saw they released a tweet that they said that Trouble Shoes was the biggest pony that they've ever had.
I believe it. I believe it. That is the biggest that I have seen, and
Oh yeah.
that's the biggest I've seen. But I was glad. But I was actually glad for it. I was like, yay, another male character, but also a different male character style. But what else can they do after that?
Yeah, if it wasn't for the flashback, I would have said he was
Yeah.
actually a horse, but the flashback,
Right.
no, he's a pony and just a very big one.
Exactly.
I'm debating whether he's the horse in the background of the Heart's the Strongest Horses episode.
Oh, I bet he is.
Oh.
I bet he is.
It just looks so much like him, but without a hat, you know?
Has anyone noticed that on Trouble Shoes' flank that it's an upside down horseshoe? He thinks it's bad luck. But how many people were saying that also looks like it's the symbol for Omega?
I didn't really catch that, but now that you say that, I guess it
Omega?
sort of does. One of the things that I don't really like about this episode is when they're trying to get this second meaning out of this cutie mark, it's not really. I mean, you can't really tell that from an upside down horseshoe. I mean, all the idea behind that symbol is bad luck. So, I mean, how can you get to entertain people in a rodeo from an upside down horseshoe? It's like coming from nowhere.
I like that it seems what they're doing a lot of episodes so far that are really focusing the subject is the cutie mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's really interesting. I think what the fandom thinks of there's different things, what the writers and obviously think of what the cutie mark is, and then what the fandom thinks cutie marks are. So I think in this the season 5 is getting near existential as what is a cutie mark really?
Right, because this is the season of cutie mark magic.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, we're seeing cutie marks being like being taken away and putting something else on there. There's the fact that the issue of like whether cutie marks can cause kind of disharmony because everyone's so different. But it's really like what it makes you. But there's also the factor of like I think it's really setting up the cutie mark crusaders to really to get theirs, and they really it's forcing them to think of like maybe it's forcing them to think a little bit about like what kind of cutie marks should they get pretty much.
I'm calling it right now. The CMC are going to get their cutie marks in the finale. Calling it right now.
I'm going to play back to that. I think so.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I think the finale is going to be our first three-parter,
Oh,
I really wish they get their cutie marks, but I'm not willing yet to bet they will. I mean, I really, really hope they do because it's well overdue.
Yeah, I know. Back to what Alex was saying a minute ago by like, the comedy element. I think I heard years ago that part of comedy is misery plus timing, and maybe the way they interpreted his story is, like he's the goofball that always kind of messes up. So, perhaps he his clumsiness is just, him trying to be funny. I don't know. I was going somewhere with that, and it kind of got lost.
Yeah, I think what you mean is like he wasn't really applying his clumsiness for the right reason. He was just letting it go, and he wasn't
Yeah.
really courting it in, using it for a purpose to
Mhm.
actually make something out of it.
My fear is that when the cutie mark Crusaders get their cutie marks, then that's it for MLP. Then we're done.
Not really. I mean, after they do get their cutie marks, I mean, there is still so much more that you can take on with that. You can explore how they'll act with their cutie marks. Like, what will their adventure
exactly.
be
You can
in their
have the
talent?
Cutie Mark Crusaders grow up.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Or you could take the Larson route and have them all turn into alicorns.
Yeah. Oh God.
We haven't actually seen Rainbow Power return yet, which is interesting.
Oh yeah.
I bet
that can't
they're
be gone.
finale too.
Maybe.
Though to be fair, like if you really think about it, we didn't really see much of the elements of harmony in use.
Yeah.
I guess not. No.
I don't think anyone's even said anything about it. I mean, once the castle was created, then there's nothing else.
Right. Yeah.
Elements.
That's it for the elements. It's just just the castle now.
I could have thought every episode was gonna have them finding a new place on the map.
Yeah, me too. I thought so too.
Yeah.
I guess so. But that doesn't. That would mean if that were to happen, then there would be no slice of life episodes.
I guess not.
So, I guess it would be every few episodes. I don't know when the next one will be, though. I hope it's soon.
Speaking of slice of life, what did everyone think of last week's episode, the slice of death?
Oh
yeah,
yes.
tank.
Slice of death.
Actually, I thought that was my favorite episode of the season so far.
Yeah.
That was Doom and Gloom, right?
To be honest, it was my least favorite episode, and
Thanks for the memories.
Yeah.
it didn't really
That's right.
sit well with me that Rainbow Dash was causing all this havoc without thinking straight, and she never actually really got in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Apart from her own misery. I mean, even when she just kind of came to accept it, it's like all her friends just gathered around and cried with her, and it's like,
Yeah.
why?
Apparently, Twilight Sparkle is Ned Stark. Apparently.
Oh God. Oh yeah. Right.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, prepare yourself. Everybody, winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
This reference.
I
often ask this question to people. What do you think? How different do you think the episode would be if it showed Tank being buried at the very start rather than at the end?
It was like a flashback.
Kind of like, if it started out with, Rainbow Dash putting Tank into the ground at the start of winter, and and then she had to deal with the fact that he's gone for the next few months.
I think the mechanics would have been about the same.
Yeah, it would have been practically the same, just maybe the dialogue would be a bit different.
I think what Rainbow would have done would have been like, well, let's see, maybe if I can make Winter move along faster, and then then he'll come back.
With doing that, they could actually create the illusion that make the viewers wonder, oh, did Tank die? And then at the very end, just showing, oh no, it's just hibernating for the winter.
Yeah,
exactly. The writers could have done that.
That's true.
I think this is Rainbow Dash's freakout episode, because you know how you had Pinkie Pie's Party 1 and then Twilight's 1?
Oh, yes.
Lesson 0, yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they're going round them all and having them freak out at some point. I don't think we've had one for Rarity quite yet. I mean, we've seen her go to an extreme, but she's always
had a freak out episode.
kept a level head.
Yeah, Rarity had a few ones, not at an extreme level though, but
Every
was
episode is a freak out episode for Rarity.
there.
I
Exactly.
guess
Yeah.
so.
I was thinking Rarity's freak out episode was actually Simple Ways, honestly, but I was thinking there
Oh
was
yeah,
one episode where I thought she was starting to
So
crack.
but yeah, it was just a little bit, I think. But
yeah.
I'm telling like full out freak out, just
Party of one
absolutely.
status.
Yeah,
Zero
right.
status.
Simple Ways was kind of her freak out episode.
Who
We
had
haven't gotten one for Fluttershy yet, though, have we?
No, I mean they debate that happened at the gala episode when she was trying
Oh,
to.
right. Yeah.
Oh, then we have had
those.
Hurricane Fluttershy and
Best to have her.
we've had Hurricane Fluttershy and
Oh yeah.
Philly Vanilli, where both those had like mental breaks. They were outright disturbing.
Yeah.
Here's a question for the group: who does everyone think that had the best freak out so far?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. It's
In terms of comedic effect, or
Either or, or which just seemed more funny, or more yikes, Just one of them emotionally, I guess.
It's hard to compare them because they're so different.
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
I'd say Pinkie
that's a
Pie's
good
is
thing, though.
definitely the most creative, whereas Twilight's I think is the funniest.
yeah.
I love Twilight's freak out, especially when she pops out of the bushes and she has that
Yeah.
Yeah.
that Cheshire cat grin. I was laughing so hard. I was like, I'm laughing and I'm terrified at the same darn time because it's
I know,
hilarious.
it's a bit like The Shining.
Exactly.
That-
Here's
When
Twilight.
that episode was on, that was the episode that my aunt found out that I was a brony. Because she came in, and that was the face on the screen, and she's like, "What the hell are you watching?"
I would say Twilight and Rainbow Dash, I think, had the best freakouts so far. I mean, Twilight, I think facial wise, expression wise, they had the best freakouts, and especially with Rainbow Dash, they were just amping up the comedic factor with her.
Yeah.
I love the episode where she's like, the part where she's like, "Do I look angry?" Oh my gosh, I can already see the memes that are coming.
Yeah, they were referencing a comic, I think. That one where the guy throws the guy out the window.
I can already see the memes for that.
Oh, that one.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
I'm pretty sure that was the face. Speaking of faces, that face that was on the locker of some ponies, yeah. What was that?
Oh,
I have no idea.
I don't know.
It looked like basically a G1 cartoon version or something like that.
Really? At first I thought it was a
Somebody
reference.
took
to
a cell and traced over it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's a reference to something. I just don't know what it is,
Right.
I remember when one of the Pinky clones morphed herself into like Gen 1 Pinky. I fell out of my chair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, "What are you?"
So,
Pinkie Pie.
Love Pinky.
Sometimes I wonder if she goes, I don't know, if the writer's gonna overdo her fourth wall breaking or whatever. Like in this episode, you see her having a giant head.
oh, yeah, right.
She's done any fourth wall breaking, has she yet?
They
I don't
fixed
know,
her for
describe
this
it.
season, though.
I
They
mean, like,
wrote her in character,
the
which
limits
I
of
was
her
very happy
abilities, I
about.
guess. I mean, we've seen her hover above water, I guess. So.
Yeah.
There's no question.
That one's like leaning on the fourth wall,
Yeah.
not necessarily breaking it.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. I didn't mean fourth wall breaking.
Yeah.
I'm glad
I guess,
to see I was glad to see Brayburn again in this episode. First,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, "Brayburn's back, yay!" And I was even happier that he didn't say Appaloosa.
Appaloosa!
Yeah. Brayburn didn't really get any good lines in the
Oh,
the first episode, did he?
Nah.
really. I was glad there was no Appaloosa.
Worthwhile.
glad there's no Appaloosa. I mean, after watching that, I was like, there's only so much I can hear of Appaloosa.
Right.
Shut up!
Ugh.
Yeah, they mentioned Appaloosa, but like really, it could have been set anywhere in like the western towns because you don't really see Appaloosa, just like the
Yeah.
rodeo.
He was just
Yeah, I
normal
know.
when he said Appaloosa. I was like, yay, thank you.
Oh, fun fact for this episode, this is the first episode in the season where we haven't had a song.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Was it
right.
episode 6? Well, technically 5, but
And we
yeah,
don't have a
6.
song this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I thought that maybe if anyone was gonna have a song, it would be the horseshoe guy. Sorry,
Yeah.
gone his name now.
I could
It
see
would've
him
been
singing a song about bad luck. Totally.
Actually, in terms of males, hasn't Discord been the only one that has actually had a song?
Did Spike have his own song yet?
No, he did like backup in one of
Yeah, he did, but he didn't really have
no.
solo song. He's next. He's
Well,
next.
He better be.
Kind of sang the Wonderbolts national anthem.
Yeah. Right,
I
yeah.
suppose.
No. How about the Crystal
Not
Empire?
necessarily narrative driven is what I mean.
Yeah.
They don't have narrative driven songs.
He almost got a song during that pet sitting one, I think.
Almost.
What was it, like the Lonely Dragon one?
I don't think so. I don't know. Did he?
It's like he was sitting down just singing like I'm a lonely dragon and I
Oh,
don't
yeah. I guess so. It's like,
I think you may be right. That Discord may be the only male character that had an actual featuring song.
I
Yeah.
guess so.
I was hoping that Brayburn would have a song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, there haven't, like, other than Discord, there haven't really been any male driven songs in the show. Needs to be next. Come on, Hasbro.
All right,
Shining armor.
we need to start wrapping up. Get back to episode. Any final thoughts from all of you?
Great episode.
Pretty good episode. Not the best, not the worst. Pretty average, I guess.
I think it was
like
well
it.
paced
Yeah.
for that, you know. Especially with a Cudemart Crusader episode.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping they would, that Apple Bloom would reference, Bloom and Gloom, but she didn't.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What are you gonna do?
Still a good episode.
Yeah.
All right. Since Craig has not been able to contact me again, I guess, John, you're up for the narration coming up.
Awesome.
Okay. Right. Let me see what I can do with this.
All right, now let's begin Simple Ways, Part 2.
So is it just from after Applejack says, "What are you wearing?"
It was actually Rarity. If there's one thing,
Which line is it?
Rarity, if there's one thing I love, it's hauling apples.
First line, page 11.
It's one
These
thing I love,
words.
hauling apples.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, I got it. Okay, Okay, I'm going for sort of a Joker thing here.
Okay, do I
These
start?
words and a bit of playing with her mane do nothing whatever to distract Trenderhoof's attention, but to rub Applejack exactly the wrong way. The befuddled stallion moves closer to her. I'm growing fond of it myself. She shoots him a dirty look, the camera zooming in to close up on her face.
Maybe you two should try it sometime.
I'm feeling a tad inspired. Striking a pose, he begins to address himself toward Rarity, to her growing delight. Without farm life, there'd be such disparity. These thoughts I think with such great clarity. Apples high to the sky, she's the one of my eye. Not through that fruit-hauling pony named Applejack. I think I'm gonna change the Heath Ledger thing because I don't think it's quite working tonight. Let me try. Right.
Oh, it's really your choice. Like,
No. I think I'll go for epic trailer voice for a laugh. The mare, whose name would have finished the rhyme, lets her jaw drop fully open in total shock. A most unladylike bray issuing from her throat. A heart drifts upward from her head and breaks in two. The pieces evaporate in the air, and the camera zooms in as she works her way from disbelief to a venomous glare of her new rival. Dissolve to a close-up of Spike standing in one of the fields.
Rarity?
Zoom out. A plow stands nearby, with Rarity examining the ropes tied to its hitches.
Why do you want to plow a field?
Is it me, or could this use a splash of color?
Don't we need to check on the garden decorations?
Yes, of course. But Trent obviously has a thing for farm life. If I can't convince him that I'm just as much of a farmhoof as Applejack, I'll never get him interested in the festival.
The festival. Right.
And I do appreciate your help ever so much. I couldn't do a thing without you, Spiky Boo.
As she turns off screen, his mood improves considerably thanks to her flattery.
Well, that's what friends are for.
Right.
She is now sitting on top of the plow and holding the free rope ends.
So...
Oh, sorry. Snapping them as if they were reins, and thus irrevocably confirming the impression that she has no idea whatsoever how to use a plow. She throws her weight forward as if trying to spur a horse.
Come on. Farm thing.
She heaves a dejected sigh, and in close-up, slumps over and wipes a sweat from her forehead.
How does Applejack do it?
Well, it would help if the harness was on, right?
Her head snaps up and swivels toward the voice. Zoom out to show Applejack and Trenderhoof crossing the field to her and Spike.
What are you doing?
I am simply lending a hoof with the chores, which I love doing ever so much.
Well, if you're still interested after the festival, I can teach you all about it.
Yeah. Longer shot of the area. She has donned a hitching collar similar to the one used by Big Macintosh and tied the ropes to its pegs.
But right now, I need to get the plowing done, if you don't mind.
She begins to gallop on the end of this, and as soon as the ropes go taut, they drag the plow away to start cutting a furrow in the soil. Rarity is flung clear and caught by Trenderhoof so that only her rear half hits the ground.
Not at all.
His eyes pop to the size of poker chips, and he unceremoniously drops her in favor of the staring after Applejack, along with a goggling Spike, a little whimper from the now prostrate mare.
She makes it look so easy.
I know. Isn't she fantastic? Rarity cringes mightily under the brim of her sun hat, dissolved to the base of a tree. A grunt from the off screen. Applejack is followed by her rear hooves swinging up to connect with the wood, and the camera tilts. Sorry. Let me try a better position to read this. And the camera tilts up quickly to the branches. They are heavy with apples, which begin to vibrate in a response to the hit. And a cut back to the base shows them raining down in tubs now laid out around it. Zoom out. Applejack stands proudly over them, but Trenderhoof's ardent clapping distracts her, and Rarity is no help when she walks up. Applejack is no longer hitched up and does not wear the collar.
I really don't see what the fuss is all about.
Spotting a second tree nearby, she crosses to it in close-up and gingerly thumps her hoops against its bark.
Now, Rarity, you be careful. If you don't get the barking just right, you could sprain a hoof.
I am perfectly familiar with the apple bucking process, thank you very much. But while you seem to rely on raw power, I believe a certain amount of style is required. It's really more of a dance, if you ask me.
Humming quietly to herself, she executes a few steps to approach the tree, turns to face away from it, and kicks one rear hoof onto the wood. A single apple shivers on its branch, and the camera cuts to a close-up of the basket around her neck as it drops neatly in. Zoom out to frame one very satisfied mare.
Et voila!
Well, your way is definitely long on style.
Thank you.
Now, if you'll all excuse me, I have some chores to do.
His grinning pursuit is cut off sharply when she whirls to stare him down.
Inside!
Off she goes to a chicken coop, hunching down to cram herself through the small entrance by the poultry. The hatch drops shut behind her to the sound of surprise squawking from inside. Zoom out quickly to frame the whole of the building and cut back to a dispirited Rarity. Rarity, can I ask you something?
Oh, why, Trent, you can ask me anything.
I've been meaning to ask this for a while, and frankly, I'm a bit embarrassed. He voices the faintest bit of a chuckle and smiles broadly. Cut to Rarity and zoom in slowly. Rarity, do you think Applejack would be my date for the festival? Sheer surprise turns into brain-melting fury in a flash, and she leans hard into his face.
Why didn't you go ask her yourself?
The style-conscious stallion is left to stare mutely after her, dissolved to the chicken coop in which Applejack sequestered herself. That's a hard word to say. The hatch is slid up from inside, and she puts her head out for a wary look around the yard. Trenderhoof is at a distance, thumping a front hoof against the tree, and bringing down exactly one apple that ends up speared on his horn. She plasters herself behind another tree, careful to stay out of his line of sight, and slinks away to an open patch of ground to take cover behind some bushes. Trenderhoof, meanwhile, pulls the apple off his horn and bites into it. Applejack gallops for the barn, cut to inside its main door, as she eases it open and slips inside. A moment later, she slammed the door shut and leaned her back against it, letting out a relieved sigh.
Well, that was close.
If you've come to apologize.
Cut to her, also inside the barn and without her apple basket. Behind her, Macintosh is loading a cart with equipment.
There's really no need.
What are you talking about?
Let's dispense with the charade, shall we?
Listen, I know you really want Trent to like you.
And he does, despite some pony's best efforts.
I swear, I do not know why he's paying so much attention to me. And I know how any pony would be interested in farming. Not even me.
Well, maybe it's time Trent met a real country pony.
Shouldn't you be working on the festival instead of coming up with new ways to impress Trent?
Oh, I'm sure you'd love that. Well, I have a new vision for the festival.
She adopts an exaggerated Southern drawl that layers oddly with her normal refined speech.
And it's gonna be more country than the whole Apple family put together.
The two members of said family stare after her, Applejack with concern, Macintosh with total disbelief, and trade a worried look. Who the heck is Trade? Sorry. Dissolved in the exterior of Carousel Boutique, then cut to the showroom. The runway is still set up, but the set of steps Spike wheeled up to its end has been replaced by a hay bale. Others are set up on the floor at either end of the ill-stitched patchwork as replaced the elegant curtain, and wisps of hay litter the floor and runway. Twilight, Fluttershy, Pinky, and Rainbow are in here and at a loss to figure out drastic change in decoration.
Isn't it a little late to be changing the theme?
A door is heard opening and closing under her words, and Applejack trots into the showroom.
Applejack, what's going on?
I'm too scared to guess.
Down go the lights, up come the foots, zoom in slowly to the curtain. From behind the curtain,
Firstly, I just want to thank you for all coming. And second, I know y'all will adore my new festival theme.
close up of the curtain. A spotlight flicks onto Spike as he walks out from the wings, wearing a crudely woven straw hat and plucking a banjo. The rough drapery whips back to expose a most unlikely tableau. A hay-strewn expanse of bales, pigs, chickens, and farm tools, with a wagon wheel on the back wall amid a row of horseshoes. Standing at the middle of it all is Rarity, her mane in an unkempt state resembling Applejack's, but without the ties to hold them back. She traded her frou-frou farmer ensemble for a straw hat like Spike's, with holes cut for her horn and ear, and a set of ragged overalls.
Simple ways.
The look that comes over the faces of the other five suggests that their brains would be quite content to jump out of their skulls and catch a ride to the next town. Snap to black. Act 3. Opening shot. Fade into the showroom. Rarity and Spike are now standing at the end of a runway, the baby dragon twanging a few notes on the banjo. Cut to Twilight, Applejack and Fluttershy. The Earth Pony spends a long second or two desperately holding back her mirth. She finally loses the battle with a hearty guffaw and ends up leaning against Fluttershy to keep from going to the floor.
Well, what's so funny?
Ha ha ha. Rarity, that is the silliest get-up I've ever seen.
It is a little funny. Funny?
A giggle from the off-screen, Twilight back to the free.
Rarity, you aren't serious, are you?
Well, of course I'm serious.
Catching herself, she clears her throat and picks up her overdrawn drawl again.
Why wouldn't I be?
Because you would never dress like that. You like fashion and high society and fancy things.
And I like plowing fields and hauling apples just as much.
But you don't.
How do you know what I like?
Because I know you.
Well, maybe you don't know me as well as you think.
And I suppose it's just a coincidence that Treadlehoof seems so interested in country life too.
Rarity stops short during this line, and then turns back to her face.
I don't know what you're getting at.
Well then, I guess I'll just have to show you.
Be my guest! Now, if you all will excuse me, I have a hootenanny of a festival to put on.
Slam. Cut to the bewildered equine quintet, and zoom in on Applejack as she glares daggers after the departed unicorn and snarls softly. White to the exterior of the main barn at Sweet Apple Acres. Zooming in slowly, then cut to Spike inside. He still wears his straw hat, but has traded his banjo for a clipboard on which Rarity is glumly marking off items.
Now.
Cut to her at the start of the next line. A runway and ragged curtain have been set up to mirror the boutique setup, and she is addressing a line of fillies gathered in front of it. Among them are Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle.
To be a model in the Simple Always fashion show, you might think simple means less is more. Well, that just ain't so. If you want to be real simple, more is more.
Here come a couple of old boots, a floppy straw hat, a clump of flowers under her control. They are projected toward the off-screen bloom. A quick rustling, a round of horrified stares from the other fillies, and the job is done. The hat has been crammed onto the red mane, topped by the flowers, and with slits cut from her ears. The boots are on her front hooves, and she is wearing a set of ragged overalls. As soon as she has taken full stock of herself, she hunches miserably down as if trying to shrink into the hat. Zoom out to frame the entire tableau.
Now, you all go off and make yourselves look just like that.
The rest of the would-be models reluctantly head for the door. Bloom, meanwhile, has a hard time seeing where she is going due to the oversized headwear tilting over her eyes.
Who's our next model for the fashion show?
Apple Jew?
Who the hey is that?
Down go the lights, and a spot works the runway, built of rough wooden planks, towards the curtains, which open to reveal the newcomer. It is Applejack, with her mane gathered at the top of her head and secured in a jeweled clip. Her cowboy hat is gone, and she is decked out in a dress of lacy blue-green fabric, patterned with white diamonds, over a layer of translucent pink at the hem. Neither Rarity nor Spike can get any words out straight away, and they remain silent as Applejack proceeds smoothly out the end of the runway and turns to show the threads from all angles. She doubles back towards the curtain, swinging her hips provocatively, but suddenly stops and turns her head to show her best set of bedroom eyes. Rarity is first to find her tongue, so she can voice her indignation.
Is this some kind of joke?
Now Applejack starts in with a voice that is not her own, imitating Rarity's speech in a way that fails to completely hide her drawl.
Why, Rarity, whatever would make you think I was joking?
Close-up of Rarity.
Because you would never wear an ensemble like that. You like plowing fields and hauling apples.
And I can like fashion just as much.
But you don't.
Well, maybe you don't know me as well as you think.
Fine. But I got the whole festival to plan, so if you're going to start modeling, just get on with it.
Applejack's scowl turns into a smirk, and she starts into it with all the poise she can drum up.
Life is a festival, and you should celebrate it by looking just like me, because I'm a trend-setting fashionista.
A flashbulb pops, and its glare fades to reveal that scene has changed to a close-up photo of her face. Two other shots flash up, lying on her belly and laughing, blowing a kiss over her shoulder, and the other camera cuts to an incredulous Rarity.
You're a trend-setting fashionista? Why, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever... I mean, good for you. I, on the other hoof, couldn't care less about how I look, long as I get the chores done.
A few bits to slodge chaff drift down around her foreleg. And she puts the hoof of the other one to her nose and crosses her eyes while braying like a donkey. A very smug Applejack steps down from the runway.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, indeedy doodle.
Rarity glares at her. She fluffs her mane up a bit, inspecting herself in a hand mirror.
My mane needs to be perfectly coiffed at all times.
Well,
Rarity.
my mane is full of dust and split ends.
Extreme close-up of one orange-tan hoof, polished to high shine. The mirror has been put away.
My hooves are so polished, you can see your reflection in them.
My hooves are cracked and dry from working in the fields.
I'm so fashion forward.
I wear droopy drawers.
I smell like rosebuds.
I love being covered in mud.
She puts her money where her mouth is by hurling herself over a partition and into a mud puddle being used by a pig wallow. One glob sails across the barn and, in slow motion, splatters against the tasteful pink-blue-green fabric covering Applejack's chest. The aspiring country pony is out of the mud in an instant, carrying plenty of it with her and returning to normal speech.
Goodness, your couture. Oh, it's bad. Will some pony bring me a towel to wipe this repulsive filth from my hooves?
Now Applejack drops her own fake accent and throws a foreleg across the denim-clad shoulders with a smile.
There's the rarity I know.
Oh, Applejack. I'm sorry I said all those things. You're a true friend who probably knows me better than I know myself. I don't know what I was thinking wearing this ridiculous outfit.
I kinda know how you feel.
Oh, but you were just trying to help me see how silly I was being. You were right. Besides, that gown looks just gorgeous on you. I wish I hadn't ruined it.
Thanks. It's nice, ain't it?
It's magnificent. Wherever did you get it?
The farmer cuts her eyes nervously away for a split second, and then turns them back toward the opposite number.
Oh, it's one of yours.
Under the beat-up straw hat and unruly purple mane, the blue eyes shrink to terror-stricken points as the siren goes off in Rarity's head. She reaches down to grab Spike, shaking him hard enough to dislodge the hat from his head. He has done away with the clipboard he was holding.
I'll need 3 gallons of boiling water and 1 ounce of detergent. Stat!
He is off like a shot out the door, passing the recently arrived Trenderhoof. Seen from the neck down, he is changed out of a sweater and into a set of overalls that have seen better days. After he clears his throat, the camera zooms out to frame all of him. Straw hat, but without horn ear holes, and half-moon reading glasses instead of fashionable ones he has sported to this point. I'm moving to Ponyville. Both mares stare in surprise. Being the most interesting pony in all of Equestria is exhausting. I want to leave my exotic, exciting life and live on a farm.
What?
What? Well, that's really nice, but I sure hope you weren't thinking of Sweet Apple Acres.
Trenderhoof face falls. Oh?
Ah, look, you're a fine pony, but, well, I'm,
I think what Applejack is trying to say is that there's something unappealing about a pony who changed themselves so much just to impress some pony else. If some pony doesn't like you for who you are, it's their loss.
Well, this is awkward.
Not at all. In fact, I think I know just how you feel.
what do you think, Rarity? Is it too late to go back to small town chic?
Not if I can help it.
Dissolved to the charcoal sketch of cider tasting as depicted during her Act 1 presentation. The page is turned aside to expose the scene playing out under the night sky.
Organizing the Ponyville Day celebration was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Meant as an entry for the shared journal, cut to her sketch of the dance near the town hall. It is, too, flipped to show this event taking place in real time. Pan toward the front entrance.
But I learned an important lesson.
Stop on Applejack and Granny in front of the steps, the former still done up fancy and having had the mud cleaned off her borrowed dress. Trenderhoof back in his original sweater and glasses. Steps up and lifts a foreleg gallantly toward the younger mare. Then surprises her by extending it to the older one instead.
Real friends will like you for who you are.
Granny accepts the offer and leads her into the dance.
And changing yourself to impress them is no way to make new ones.
Cut to her sketch of the fashion show, which is pulled aside to show Rarity and the Crusaders walking an outdoor runway for the crowd. The three fillies are in tasteful gowns, and the mare is back in the light blue ensemble and accompanying the jewelry she used for her presentation. Camera flash here and there.
And when you're as fabulous as I am.
She reaches the runway's end and bows as Trenderhoof climbs up to next to her. He offers her a rose. She takes it in her teeth and smiles confidently around the long stem.
It's practically a crime.
A twinkle of light plays across each pupil, and view fades to black. The end.
And that was our first script read.
Yeah.
Huzzah!
God, Alex, you had a much tougher job than I figured. That was really difficult.
I know, right?
I think it's the fact that it's in italics too.
Yeah.
One thing I have learned, I would like for future reads, I think I'm just going to try to basically copy and paste the script, and then I'll personally trim out a lot of the stuff that's unnecessary, and just basically focus it more for the narrator,
Yeah.
and just basically send out that copy to everyone to read.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So, what's everyone's thoughts on this episode in our first read?
I had fun.
Me too.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun there. Well, do you mean like what are our thoughts on each other's performances, or just on the episode in general?
On basically this show, and also in general the episode itself.
Yeah. Well, this has always been one of my favorite episodes. It's like I said, Rarity's freak out episode, and I think what Tabitha did with her accent towards the end was absolutely brilliant. I feel
Yeah.
bad that I don't get to go to Galacon this year because of money issues, because I would have loved to had the opportunity just to tell her all that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Let me see, where is Galacon at?
It's in
Is
Germany.
that in
Yeah,
Europe?
Did you say
It's in,
Germany?
Stuttgart in Germany. I think.
Yeah.
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 Have you ever gone to Buck?
Oh yeah, I went last year.
Wait.
I still haven't been to a convention yet.
Me either.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a pony specific one.
I need the money, and like it will be pretty hard for me to stay in a hotel alone, so I need someone to meet me up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's actually kind of fun, kind of interesting staying in a hotel by yourself. I've done it. Before. Yeah, but it is still. I will agree. It is better with cost wise, definitely.
Yeah.
If you
Oh,
have
yeah.
more than one person.
Right.
Yeah,
Most
definitely. I mean, when I was at Buck down in Manchester last year, I was very fortunate to be in the same hostel as I don't know, 90% of the people who were actually going. So
Wow.
yeah, it was nice going down there every morning to talk to all the people from the Czech Republic and the Malaysian bronies and just from all over the world.
Nice. The last PonyCon I went to was BronyCon 2013. That was my last one. I missed last year's due to finances, but this year I'm gearing up for TrotCon and BronyCon this year.
I only missed BronyCon last year was because I didn't have a ride to get there. Like, I was actually in Boston.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't have any form of transportation.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I'm making a point to try and get to BabsCon one day, because that seems like, for a voice actor, that just seems like the one you want to be at.
BabsCon's LA, right? Or
I thought it was
San Francisco.
I know it's California.
It's like they have that competition, The Voice, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can always ask them to submit panels like that too.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you can request that kind of thing.
And with Equestria LA, you're like right in some of the hotbed of North American talent and opportunities. Like you're literally right in the entertainment capital. You're in LA.
Oh, yeah. I guess what I meant was that they pull in a lot of the best voices from the show, and yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for you to meet people.
Mm.
So, San Diego's a beautiful place. I'd love to try and go to BabsCon one day.
Yeah.
I've heard so many great things about it. I also want to hit Everfree one day too, if I can.
Yeah.
I didn't get to go to Everfree this year either. Broke a leg and no flying, so.
Yeah. You know what I'm wondering about this year is how BronyCon's supposed to be with the with Baltimore. What's happening with Baltimore now?
Well, on the bright spot, I said BronyCon doesn't happen till like July, isn't it, this year?
It is
August. It's like, well, it'll be so like they already like got the police, like they're already filing charges.
Yeah.
So it's like the riots will be very settled by then.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Here's hoping.
Yeah, definitely.
Thing is, I'm not planning to go there this year, but next year, probably, if I get the money and if I'm able to go,
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat sort of thing where I'll try to save up for next year for BronyCon. I've already been to a few conventions, but I've mostly just been filming, which means I can't really interact with the events.
Yeah. This is why I want a Brony convention in Boston, because that would be the closest to where I am.
You actually think there would be one in Boston?
Yeah, like there isn't, and the closest one is actually PonyCon in New York.
Yeah.
It's like the closest one to the New England area.
Yeah.
TropCon's the nearest one for me because I'm in Cincinnati and TropCon's in Columbus, which is like just a 2-hour drive from where I am.
I don't even know what's closest to me. Oh man. I'm in New Mexico, so I'm like,
oh,
yeah. I think everybody skips New Mexico and goes straight to Arizona.
I swear there was one, like Arizona, I guess. Well, actually, I think there would be one in Vegas though, or something like that.
There was one in Vegas.
There used
to
be.
Yeah, now I remember that one.
Dun dun dun.
That's actually 3 states over from me though.
Oh yeah, that's Nevada though.
Yeah, that's not close.
New Mexico's
Mexico, not Nevada.
What's the big city in New Mexico? I'm trying to think. It's
There's
Phoenix.
like there aren't like huge cities. There's like smaller ones. There's Roswell. There's Carlsbad. There's Albuquerque, and then there's one other one.
There was one in Utah. I don't know if they're still going on though. It's called Crystal Mountain PonyCon. It was in Utah.
Yeah, here in Scotland we have something called Brony Scot, which is happening in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been kind of keeping in with the crowd that's organizing that.
You gonna be a panelist on that one too?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Ooh.
More details on that later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mean to spoilers.
Oh no. I almost caused a spoiler myself.
Oh.
Oh.
But yeah, let's sort of move on to that. But I guess we're done discussing this episode. Any thoughts? I guess since we're going to have our break apparently is going to co-line with the upcoming episode. Any thoughts on that episode?
What is?
Which you mean this?
Or actually, in general, what we know the rest of the season.
All right. Does anyone know the premise of the next episode?
No.
It's the one with was
The
it
smooth.
Discord? Yes, the smooth.
It is
Oh
the
god, I'm so looking forward to that one.
It's the smooth, but it's also the episode that Discord gets jealous.
Oh yes.
Oh my gosh, Discord's coming back! Yay!
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yay! I'm really curious of what what they're going to do with Discord now, because Discord got a pretty big blow at the end of the season 4 finale. So I'm thinking, what can they possibly do with Discord now?
Well, the episode idea is basically it's a cancel out. No, not cancel out. Yeah, it is cancel out gardens. No, wait, the Grand Galloping Gala.
Yeah, the gala.
Grand Galloping Gala.
Oh my gosh!
It's a Grand Galloping Gala, and basically, Fluttershy invites a new friend instead of like when they get the 2-ticket things, instead of Discord, and Discord gets jealous, so that's why he invites a Smooze.
I see.
Oh,
Discord invites. Okay.
Oh.
Fluttershy freak out
I'm
again.
wondering, is he still living with Fluttershy?
I'm pretty sure he is.
He sort of
guess.
lives in like an
Considering
alternate
the
reality.
ending of season 4.
I don't think
Kinda like,
Discord lives anywhere. He just kind of roams around.
Yeah.
Because, you saw him drop in during the episode of Cadence. I mean,
Yeah, but
he's
these-
just kind of visiting.
Yet they still do actually show him in the show's opener, actually in Fluttershy's house,
Yeah.
which is either endearing or sort of creepy.
The only thing they did was take out the tree.
Speaking
in
of
that
the
opener.
opening, you guys ever wonder why they've got snips and snails in the final picture?
Maybe it'll be in
I don't know.
It's just, I don't know. I just always figure them to be, just side characters. And I mean, I can
it is
understand
most of the people
Sakura.
it is
being in it,
most of
but-
the ponies that do live in Ponyville.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
the
the new,
mayor's in there, and she's hardly in any episodes.
Yeah, I think so.
I
yep,
guess-
then
I just mean, I think it might make more sense to have someone like Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon in the picture rather than them. Because I get that they're funny, but they don't really, they're just really there sometimes. They don't really contribute, to other characters,
Yeah.
other stories.
Why would you have Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon in the picture? They're kind of rivals.
I don't know.
See.
Just an idea.
They're the foils.
Maybe there'll be a future episode with us, Snips and Snails.
Yeah, maybe there will be.
They seem more comedic relief than actual character building kind of.
Yeah, like I think they're the worst characters in the whole series, to be honest.
They have very, very little any sort of dialogue progression or any
Yeah.
character development. I mean, their whole concept was based on that like kids rhyme. Was it?
Yeah.
Where it's like a pun to like sugar, spice, everything nice, and then the boys one is like, I forget what it is. Something
Snips and
about puppy
snails
dog
and puppy
tails.
tails.
Snips, snails, and puppy dog tails.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
and also like they're playing on the old slender and fat person like villain
Yeah.
sort of
Like
thing.
dynamic duo kind of thing.
Yeah,
The classic bumbling henchman, pretty much.
it's Mario and Luigi,
There.
except more exaggerated and stupider.
And very young. They're still in school.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking an Abbott and Costello kind of thing.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Did anybody else catch that last week's episode?
Yes.
The Who's on First reference.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
I love
oh great.
that.
Open clear skies.
No, clear skies is everywhere.
No, clear skies right here.
Fluffy clouds. He's over there.
Great reference of Who's on First.
skies.
Such a great reference of like the Who's on First.
Oh yeah.
It's
You know,
amazing.
I even made my own version of the Who's on First. I did Who's voicing Twilight. I don't know if any of you saw that.
No, I'll check that out sometime.
Yeah, it's on my channel. Who's voicing Twilight? Yeah. One little thing.
Why who's voicing Twilight?
Because it's just a MLP version of Who's on First. Because I know
Yeah.
some people have done versions of it. Like one person did a World of Warcraft version of it. Other people have done other things. So yeah.
And it's really easy with Tara Strong's voice.
Yeah.
She'll sound like I even hear it in the show where like there's a tiny snippet of another character that she's voiced, and you're like, did the director really choose that line specifically?
Yeah.
Or is it just like a throw in as like they did it without noticing?
No, like I find it funny, like in the episodes that Twilight's more supportive, like you can tell she has more of an accent.
Yeah.
Then like when she's like the main character, she usually just has a flatter voice, but like she's like a more like quibbits, like the way she has all like I think one of the ones that was most distinct when she said was like that pet episode in season 3 where she's like all these critters.
Yeah.
That where you can hear she like her distinct like I forget what the word is for it. Vocal talent, whatever.
Right, yeah.
Ow. But yeah.
Well, I guess we need to start wrapping up. Any final thoughts on the episode or what's coming up?
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to working with you guys again. And
Yeah. Same
earlier
here.
on when I kind of commented on Alex coughing,
I know, right? I was kind of slow to get to the microphone button.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
Yeah.
You did it in character though, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
I was trying to make a joke of it.
I
But
don't-
honestly, reading
Yeah.
these italics is kind of hard, especially in this low light that I've got.
Right, yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I've got this giant foam shield around my microphone, and I can't have the words any closer to me than like a few inches under my chin. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I
So
totally.
maybe John not read.
Yeah.